Hi guys, welcome back and welcome to my spoiler review of the 2007 film Stardust. It was directed by Matthew Vaughn, who has also directed Layer Cake in 2004, Kick-Ass in 2010, X-Men First Class in 2011, the Kingsman trilogy in 2014, 17 and 21, and his most recent film that was just released beginning of this month, Argylle. The main cast in this film include Charlie Cox as Tristan Thorne, Claire Danes as Yvain, and Sienna Miller as Victoria Forrest, plus many more famous actors which I'll try and mention in this video. The film takes place between an English village and the Fantasy Kingdom of Stormhold, with a wall as the breach between the two worlds. In this movie, to win the heart of Victoria, a young man named Tristan ventures into the realm of Stormhold to retrieve a fallen star by journeying beyond the wall, dividing the village and the magical land. What Tristan finds, however, is not a chunk of space rock, but a woman named Yvain. Yvain, who is also in great danger from the king's sons, who want her powers to secure the throne, and an evil witch played by Michelle Pfeiffer that wants to use her to achieve eternal youth and beauty with her two sisters. Before I begin with my spoiler review of Stardust, in case any of you haven't watched the film, spoilers ahead. The film begins with a voiceover by Sir Ian McKellen as the narrator, who you may know from The Lord of the Rings, where he played Gandalf, or the X-Men franchise, where he played Magneto, telling us it is set 150 years in the past, when you see a young Dunstan Thorne, played by Ben Barnes, who played roles like Prince Caspian in the Chronicles of Narnia, or recently Billy Russo, Jigsaw in the Netflix Punisher series, trying to cross the wall between our world and the Fantasy Kingdom of Stormhold, and going to a market on the other side where he meets Una, a princess played by Kate McGowan from Kidulthood and EastEnders, who is enslaved by a witch called Ditchwater Sal, played by Melanie Hill, who has been in Waterloo Road and Coronation Street. 9 months after returning home and Dunstan meeting Una, he receives an unexpected gift, Tristan, their son. We then continue 18 years later, where we meet Tristan, played by Charlie Cox, from The Theory of Everything, or Kingsman of Thieves, but most recently, the Marvel hero Daredevil, in both the Netflix series and more recently the MCU. We also meet an older Dunstan played by Nathaniel Park, who has been in movies such as Bodyguard and The Haunted Mansion 2003. Tristan is trying to win over who he thinks is the love of his life, Victoria, played by Sienna Miller from Layer Cake and G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. We also meet his love rival, Humphrey, played by Henry Cavill, who is currently famous for playing Superman in the DCU and Geralt in The Witcher. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Stormhold, the king, played by late and great Peter O'Toole, who famously played Lawrence in Lawrence of Arabia, King Priam in Troy, and Pope Paul III in the TV series The Tudors, alongside many other roles over 50 years of his acting career, is on his deathbed and with what remains of the princes fighting for the position. With his final breath, the king releases a necklace with a ruby in it into the sky, stating that only the one that is the true king shall be able to find and will become King of Stormhold. The three remaining princes are Primus, who is played by Jason Fleming, who has played roles such as Tom in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Danny Quinn in the Primeval series, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in Leave of the Extraordinary Gentleman, Tertius, who is played by Mark Heap, who you may know from Friday Night Dinner TV series, where he played Jim Bell, Septimus, who is played by Mark Strong, who has also played Frank D'Amico in Kick-Ass, and Merlin in the first two Kingsman films. There are 4 other princes that we see as ghosts, including Secundus, who dies in this scene from a push out of the window, played by Rupert Everett, who has voiced Prince Charming in the Shrek films, played multiple roles in Centurions, including Camilla Fritton, and most recently Duke of Wellington in Napoleon. Quartus, played by Julian Rhind-tutt, who has been in films such as Lara Croft, Tomb Raider as Mr. Pims, Rush as Anthony Bubbles Horsley, Sextus, played by David Walliams, who you will know from Little Britain and is well known for being a judge on Britain's Got Talent, and Quintus, who is portrayed by Adam Buxton, who was in Hot Fuzz as Tim Messenger. We also find out in this scene that Una is the king's daughter. The necklace then flies into the sky and knocks a star down to Earth that turns out to be a woman called Yvain. This is witnessed by Tristan and Victoria while on a picnic date. They make a deal that Tristan will cross the wall and bring her back the star to gain her hand in marriage for her birthday in a week, before Humphrey proposes. The powerful dark witch Lamia, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who is famous for playing Catwoman in Batman Returns, and most recently Janet Van Dyne in the MCU, also saw the falling star. She awakens her two sisters, Imposa, played by Sarah Alexander, who has played Dr. Angela Hunter in Green Wing, and Polly Creek in the Jonathan Creek TV series, and Mormo, played by Joanna Scanlon, who is also known for the TV series Stella as Nancy and the series The Thick of It. Lamia is sent to recover the star and bring her back so they can cut out her heart so they can eat it and gain everlasting life. Attempting to cross the wall, Tristan discovers that his father once crossed the wall. Tristan is prevented by the guard at the wall, and so confronting his father, who tells him everything about how he met Tristan's mother and shows him everything that came with Tristan as a baby. He learns that his mother left him a Babylon candle which allows him to travel great distances when lit, with only a thought, but with limited use. He lights the Babylon candle, making the mistake of thinking of the star for Victoria instead of thinking about his mother. He crash lands into Yvain, played by Claire Danes, who has been in Romeo and Juliet 1996 as Juliet, and Homeland TV series as Carrie Matheson, who under duress goes with Tristan to begin their journey back to Victoria, encountering along the way Lamia that was set out alone and set a trap by creating a fake inn for Yvain, who was separated from Tristan when he leaves her to sleep and goes to get food, almost getting cut down by Lamia, before Tristan, who arrives after having travelled to the inn with the eldest of the princes, Primus, who falls for the trap and gets his throat cut, leaving Tristan to use the last of the candle to save himself and Yvain, just in time, only for them to end up on a flying airship, piloted by a group of pirates who sell lightning from the storm clouds it flies through. On this ship we meet Captain Shakespeare, played by Robert De Niro, who you will know from The Godfather Part 2 as young Vito Corleone, Meet the Parents trilogy as Jack Brines, and Dirty Grandpa as Dick Kelly, and his crew, one of which is played by Dexter Fletcher, who you may know from Bugsy Malone 1976 as Babyface, and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels as Soap. Shakespeare questions them and appears to be a ruthless killer, and even seeming to throw Tristan overboard, for it's revealed that it was only a mannequin. As it turns out, he is a kind man who only acts tough in order to keep his fearsome reputation. He then creates a disguise for Tristan and agrees to take them closer to home. On the way to a dealer's shop to sell the lightning, the dealer they meet is Ferdy the Fence and is played by Ricky Gervais, who you have seen in the UK version of The Office as David Brent and The Invention of Lying as Mark Bellison. They then continue on the journey, telling the crew that Tristan is Shakespeare's nephew. On this journey, Shakespeare trains Tristan to use a sword, Yvain how to play a piano, and both of them to dance, where they both start to fall for each other. After Tristan and Yvain leaves the ship, Septimus arrives to interrogate Shakespeare, finding out about his secret. On the way to the market near the wall, a Romney-style caravan, which unknowingly holds Tristan's mother, who has been turned into a bird by the witch. Tristan makes a deal with Ditchwater Sal, who takes him to the market, only for to trick him by taking the flower which would have prevented her from using magic on him, and she turns him into a mouse. Once Tristan and Yvain arrive in the market, they spend the night in a pub called the Slaughtered Prince. They then spend the night together. In the morning, Tristan decides to cut off a piece of Yvain's hair to give to Victoria, and makes his way on his own back to his village, leaving a message for Yvain. When he meets Victoria, he decides he wants to be with Yvain, and instead says Victoria is all yours to Humphrey. When Victoria reveals that the lock of hair has turned into Stardust, Tristan realised that she can't cross the wall, and so runs as fast as he can to save her. When Yvain arrives at the wall, Lamia also arrives, taking her and Una, who had tried to save Yvain, and Lamia kills Ditchwater Sal, taking Yvain and Una to her sisters. Tristan finally arrives and follows a track, and so does Septimus, who is not far behind. They team up planning to rescue Yvain and kill the 4 witches inside. Septimus finds out one of them is actually Una, his sister, who also reveals to Tristan she is his mother. Septimus kills the imposer, but is then killed by Lamia, who used a voodoo doll, break an arm and leg before drowning him. Tristan then kills Mormo. Lamia uses the voodoo doll to reanimate Septimus to fight Tristan before he can kill her. Once Tristan gets to Yvain, Lamia tricks him by making him think that she is sad about her sisters and letting them go, but tries to kill them with the glass from the mirrors around the room. However, Yvain holds Tristan in her arms and shines so bright that it destroys Lamia. Tristan finds the jewel on the floor, which turns back into the ruby, making him now the King of Stormhold, as the only male heir left to take the throne. The film ends with the coronation of King Tristan and Queen Yvain. His mother Una gifts them a Babylon candle, which they use 80 years later, returning to the sky as stars. The parts of the film I have always enjoyed are the relationships between all the characters, from the 7 princes to Tristan, Yvain, Shakespeare and his crew, Lamia and her sisters, and Victoria and Humphrey, etc. I also like how, even though it was made in 2007, I believe the CGI used still holds up today, and the soundtrack throughout this film by Aylan Eshkeri was also well paired with this film. The only bits of this film I feel that could have made it a better film were minor things. For example, Primus wouldn't have heard and felt Tristan hit his carriage when they met in the forest. Also, Primus and Septimus didn't seem surprised to be ghosts once they died, whereas Secundus was very surprised. So that is my spoiler review on Stardust. For the fact it came out in the late 2000s and how CGI wasn't as good as it is now, I still believe this film holds up really well. I don't understand why it has been forgotten by many, and for that reason I'll be giving this movie an 8 out of 10. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my rating, and if you'd like me to do more spoiler reviews like this one, or of any movie that includes this vast cast of actors or actresses. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming future content, and I'll see you in my next video.